Hello folks, it's Paul Anderson here, how you doing? Welcome to the How Cremar. I've got another fiddle workshop. It's a Wednesday night, so just going to play through some tunes just like normal. I think this must be number 27 now, certainly we've done 27 Friday night live for the lounge concerts. So this week I thought I would work on some of my own compositions. Done quite a few Scott Skinner ones recently, but I wrote a tune a week and a half ago called Loch na Gar, which was inspired by a walk up Gallaig. Gallaig's a fairly big hill to the north of the River Dee, kind of opposite Abergeldy and Crathy. You kind of see Balmoral Castle, but because there's a hill in front of it, but that sort of area, and for the top you sort of can see along to, like a Ballater. You're right above Coyle Creek, for the Coyle Creek Inn is, and it's not a particularly attractive hill. I mean, it's not an ugly hill, but it's not very striking if you compare it to things like Loch na Gar, which is very distinctive. It's a wee bit nondescript, but the view for the top is quite special. And so seeing as Loch na Gar was such a striking part of the walk up and back, there was some music came into my head. So I think if folk think of Loch na Gar in musical terms, they almost always think of Lord Byron's poem, which was set to music, Dark Loch na Gar. And we'll maybe go over the lyrics of that just in a wee bit, but that wasn't the sort of thing that came to me. I was looking for something that was much more distinctly Highland in character, and the thing that came to me was really what I would describe as the ground for a pibroch, and so that's what I'm going to work on the night. And it's not particularly difficult, but maybe the phrasing and the ornamentation is maybe a little bit of something that could be looked at. So I'm going to try going through that. Pibroch generally aren't group activities. It's very much a solo thing, but maybe something to pick up for this. It's something that's really associated with the Highland bagpipe tradition, but there was a tradition of playing pibroch on the fiddle, which I think had died out at some point, although James Scott Skinner wrote one called Dargai, which is a lovely tune. It was a tune I really enjoyed playing when I was a youngster, and so there was a tradition. This at the minute is what you call the ground, which is the main theme, because pibroch is a theme and variations type of music, and the variations generally will get more and more complex as the tune goes on. So this might be a pibroch. I'll let you get around to writing some variations. It might be just simply a theme, and we'll call it, Dr. Jack Taylor described it as possibly a pibroch air, so it might just be as it is, but certainly I hope it's got across that flavour, that feel, and might a bit wary of writing something like a pibroch because I'm not a piper, and my understanding of them is going to be quite different, but maybe that's not a bad thing. So I'll just play it through for you for a start. So there you go, that's my tune Lochnagar. Now, when you're writing music about a place, it's a very personal thing. I mean, 10,000 folk could write about the same subject and every single melody would be different. So that really kind of felt right for me as the type of tune for Lochnagar. I wanted something kind of a wee bit majestic, and I think the Pibroch it's often associated with folk, oh, I like Pibroch, it's boring. I find it kind of quite hypnotic. I find it kind of really quite moving. I mean, I wouldn't want to sit and listen to it all day, but I wouldn't want to sit and listen to any type of music all day, but I can get totally lost in the melody. And to me, that just kind of captured the essence of a mountain for the Cairngorm. So that's why it's kind of the way it is. Lochnagar itself is 1,155 metres. It's in a guidebook, it's talking about 7 hours. That is fairly steady speed, that's not pushing yourself. I think on a hill between 5 and 6 hours is pretty good going. There's a lot of folk that could do a lot quicker, but anyway, it's a fair scalp of a hill, and affords some fantastic views. And it's not surprising because you can pretty much see it from your house here, and it looks pretty big. It looks amazing, but it's 20 miles away. So once you get in about all the hills that you're seeing round about here, you're looking down on top of them for the top of Lochnagar. So it really does dominate the landscape, and it's a great hill. So I think now the translation literally means little loch of the noisy sound or something like that. I think it's something like that in Gaelic. But I think the older name, it means mountain of the breast. I think it's something like that. I'm not a Gaelic speaker, but I'm pretty sure that is what it means. Now, for the east, you would wonder why on earth get that title, because it looks nothing like it. It's got this cliff face, this corrie. But actually, when you go round to the Abergeldy, the Glengairn side, and you see the profile of it, it's a totally different shape. And Gaelic place names, they generally are descriptive. They're very descriptive of the look of a place, or describing the soil or the rocks or whatever. So that's Lochnagar. I'm going to play this again. Like any Scottish tune, I will tend to pull out the long notes. So maybe more than it would appear on the page. I would tend to say something like this. The dotted notes are double dotted, really. Therefore, the semiquavers, notes of the tails, are much shorter. You're really trying to emulate the feel of the bagpipes, so grace notes are important for this type of tune. The pipes are a bit limited, really. I mean, you've got 9 notes and 1 volume. There's a constant flow of air through the drones and the chanter. And so how do you add colour to an instrument like that? Well, the ornamentation adds a huge amount. Piping with grace notes is really, it's like a coo with 3 legs. It's like there's something missing there. Yeah, there's something very noticeably missing for the music. So you get folk that play stuff hell for leather, like really rattling through it. You'll hear a lot of movement on the fingers, but you want to hear a lot of ornamentation, and it therefore loses a huge amount of character. So when I'm playing a tune like this, or anything that's a pipe tune, the ornamentation needs to be definitely in there. But I'm not going to say how you should do that, because this is something I find with the fiddling. It's a very personal thing. I play grace notes for their space. So it's not something I sit and work out and consider carefully. It's just really the fingers respond from the space in the music. So I might play one right at the beginning. So the first 2 bars. Grace notes need to be crisp and clean, articulate. They really shouldn't really give you a feeling that, oh, I can tell what note that is. It's more of a percussive feel. They should twinkle about in the background without really distracting for the melodic line. So without the grace notes, it's like this. With them. I'm not sure how well that comes across over the phone, but certainly to me I can really hear it because I'm listening. I mean, obviously fiddle's there, so I'm going to hear it, but it should hopefully come across and you get a real feel of how the character is affected by that. But they're never too slow, so it's nae like this. I'm overdoing it a wee bit for demonstration purposes, but they need to be crisp and clean. So your fingers, I've mentioned this before, I've been doing this for so long, 27 weeks, you're going to get the same sort of stuff coming up time and time again, but for grace notes, your finger should be like a whip. That's what my piping teacher Ian Grant told me about grace notes and birrells. Your finger should be like a whip. Now, I made a point of checking out to see how fast the end of a whip is moving when it cracks, and apparently it's breaking the sound barrier. That's what I found out anyway. It sounds incredible, but anyway, that's pretty quick. So that gives you an idea. Also my fiddle teacher Dougie Lawrence, he said that your fingers should be like lightning. And so again, these sort of descriptions help create a picture. If you're too tensed up, the fingers want to move as crisply and cleanly. So nice crisp grace notes for this sort of tune. And so that you can, your fingers just, if you're playing a guitar, an electric guitar, they'll say you're playing a hammer on. You're just hammering down. It's almost the point I can hear me hammering on a string. Can you hear that? Or more complex. So, if that's cleanly and crisply done, I would defy anybody to be able to sort of pick out, well, you played this note, that note, followed by that note. It needs to be as quick that you are, I'm struggling, it's percussive, but I kind of figure it out. So, so there you go, grace notes, take time and practice them. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Play once more, and then I'm going to read you some of the lyrics by Lord Byron. And if his poetry is not very good, there's no hope for the rest of us. So we'll go back this tune and start from the beginning. Again, louds and softs add that little bit of colour. I mean, I think some of the bits in the second half tend to be higher up in the register. I think I'm trying to, without having sat down and worked out, I think it's trying to get a sense of height. Again, the cliff is really, it's towering. Go and check back my photos for last week. I went up Loch Nagar on Thursday, first time in quite a long time, and there's photos of Loch Nagar, and you'll get a pretty good sense of how it towers above the landscape in a Scottish scale. I mean, it's nae the Rockies or the Himalayas, but for a country the size of Scotland, it's nae bad. It's really nae bad. So here we go. So there you go. I'm not going to read the hell of this because it's quite long. It goes into a second page. So it starts, away ye gay landscapes, ye gardens of roses, if you let the minions of luxury rove, restore me the rocks where the snowflake reposes, though still they are sacred to freedom and love. Yet Caledonia, beloved are thy mountains, round their white summits, though elements war. Though cataracts foam, stead of smooth flowing fountains, I sigh for the valley of dark Loch Nagar. And it finishes, years have rolled on, Loch Nagar, since I left you. Years must elapse ere I tread you again. Nature of verdure and flowers has bereft you, yet still you are dearer than Albion's plain. England, thy beauties are tame and domestic to one who is roved out the mountains afar. Oh, for the crags that are wild and majestic, the steep, frowning glories of dark Loch Nagar. Ooh, inspiring stuff, inspiring stuff. Well, I think so, but lots of other folk have as well. So, there you go. That was by Lord Byron, who was born in the northeast of Scotland. His mother was a Gordon, a Gicht, which were a branch of the Gordon family. Notoriously wild and murderous, apparently, once upon a time. But there's a Gicht castle at which Lord Byron's mother was the last person to be born there. And she married Lord Byron, who was a bit of a rake, gambled and drank out of the fortune of the family. And Lord Byron, he inherited the lot, but wasn't left very much. So anyway, he went to Aberdeen Grammar School and apparently went up to Deeside for holidays as a boy and climbed Loch Nagar and was writing through inspiration as an older man, thinking of his childhood. So anyway, dark Loch Nagar. Right, I'm going to move on to a tune. This is a jig, and I've never played this in public before. It's called the Brig o' Tarland. Now, it's nae the Forth Brig, it's nae the Golden Gate Bridge, it's nae London Bridge or Tower Bridge. It's our bridge in Tarland, but it's a very handsome bridge actually, and like a lot of folk, I've written a tune for our local brig in Tarland. There's more than one actually, but this is the biggest and the oldest bridge, and it's old enough. Certainly, it's got you can see the mason's marks on the stonework, because certainly in Scotland and lots of other places, on a masonry, the mason that built it had his own distinctive mark that he would sign a stone on the building he was working on. So I think there's about 4 or 5 mason's marks on that bridge. So look out for them, because once you notice them, you start seeing a whole world open up. So anyway, the Brig o' Tarland, which is a jig, and I am going to play through it fairly steady. It's a 4-part jig, and I think first time through, just to let you hear it, I am going to play it without the repeats, and then we'll go through it steadier. Nothing much to it actually, although there's one bar is a little bit tricky, the crossing. Well, certainly I find it and I wrote it. Right, let's see how I go. Quite like it. I can't mind when I wrote it, but it's nae years and years and years old, but certainly I think it's maybe 3-year-old anyway. I had, for some reason, never put a date on it. So I was looking for music for next week's Tarland Food and Music Festival, which, like every other festival in the country, has been cancelled. But it's been reorganised as a virtual festival, and the programme's looking really, really good. But one of the things I do for the Tarland Food and Music Weekend normally is a guided musical walk. And the Howa Cramar here, actually, like most places in Scotland, certainly in the northeast of Scotland, there's a huge amount of music and song and poetry associated with places in the landscape. So what I did was, a couple of days ago I went out, because it wasn't windy, so it's not too noisy with wind whistling through my microphone. And so I filmed what I would normally do with my walk. I went to each place, did a little introduction about the history, and then played the tune associated with that place. So that's going to be on, not this weekend, but the following weekend. And this is one of the tunes that I looked out for that, because it actually is very much associated with the Brigg and Tarland. So, aye. So let's see how I go. We'll play it fairly slow. Now, like on a jig, the way it's notated, the triplets, which are one of the key musical fingerprints for jigs, certainly in Scotland, they're not played the way they're written. Now, that seems bonkers, but it's true. They're written of even length, but what you do is you dot the first note and put a semiquaver onto the middle note. So instead of this, rather than so it should have quite almost a percussive lift to it. The short note in the middle is really very short, and I think, to be honest, in practice I would tend to double dot the first note of the triplet, nay single dotted, which is sometimes you'll see it. 6/8 pipe marches, actually, you hear the notation of the rhythms, you see the dot and the tails, but for jigs, Scottish jigs, you dinna. I think Abby's just supposed to ken. I mean, when I got lessons on playing jigs, Scottish fiddle music lessons, I don't think I ever had a lesson that focused on how you play jigs. And for something that is a massive part of the Scottish country dance music tradition, you cannot. It's been a bit of a mystery. I maybe thought it was too easy, and nobody kens there's more art and slow airs and strathspeys and pipe marches, but we never really looked at it. But how I play them is based very much on how everybody else played them round about me. So playing with some of the older players at the Banchory Strathspey and Reel Society, you just picked it up. If you went to a festival, folk played their jigs that way, or you went to a fiddler's rally, that's how you play them, with this dotted rhythm. So so that's all I can say about that. It's such a part of the way of playing here that you didn't even need to tell folk, and they just pick it up. So there you go. We'll go back to the beginning, and I am going to play the repeats this time, because it gives you a chance to play through it. I mean, we spent quite a lot of time with the slow air, so I'll try and crack on. But to be honest, we didn't have to get through all these tunes, so we maybe want to do that. But we'll see if it happens. If I'm enjoying myself, I may just keep going. Right. 1, 2. you go. So, not much to it really. Some folk do like flat keys, so there's one flat in that, but good for you to practice your flat keys. You miss a lot of great music if you didn't like playing them. Also, kind of, if you're playing pipe tunes, if you're playing along with a piper, because that's not that uncommon, you either have to retune your fiddle to be flat or you have to adjust. And playing in flats is going to be inevitable if you're doing that. But yeah, that's a different subject, right enough. So let's go through it again a wee bit quicker this time. Try and get plenty of lift into it. I mean, if I break down how I play my triplets, between the first and second note in the triplet, there's as well as pulling out the first note, there's actually a little bit of a break between the first and second note. And without trying to over-analyse it, I think naturally that gives the music a wee bit of a lift. I think it gives you that sense of air, feel like you want to get up on your toes. I mean, you could play without that. To me, I can hear it. It's obvious to me that that sounds like it's got more lift, which is better for dancing, because how you play these dance tunes will have a direct effect on how folk dance, or indeed whether they want to get up and dance. I've certainly heard bands playing for dancing that it didn't make you want to dance, that is for sure. So a good dance band should have plenty of lift in their playing. So, but we have no dance band, we've got me. So let's go back and play it through. Again, I've got no idea Faz watching. I've got a rough idea how many folk are watching. I can't answer any comments till I get finished. So if you're playing along, we'll play it a little bit quicker. After 2 and then in with repeats this time. 1, 2. Right, let's leave that to be now. The Brig of Tarland. Now, what am I going to play now? Let's play a reel. See if we get on with this. Now, I think I posted it. Hope I did. I think I did. This is a tune. Forgot if I posted. This is a tune called The Marquis of Belhuinighe. If you find it difficult to pronounce, it's no surprising, because there's certainly a Q and a U and an H and an A and an N and a D and an A and a C and an H and a T and a Y. It's Bull. It looks like Quahandachi, but it's pronounced Belhuinighe. And that is a firm up in Buchan. So we're northeast of Scotland, but we're in Aberdeenshire. This would have been the old area of Mar. Buchan was the next earldom up, and that's up beyond Inverurie, above Aberdeen. You get beyond Ellon. That's kind of getting into Buchan once you're up there, and it's very good farmland. Some big farms up there, and the Marquis. This is the same family they're related to Maitland Marquis. Sir Maitland Marquis is he's been dead a long time, but there was Maitland Marquis Jr. I mean, he's dead as well, actually, but it's the younger Mark, young Mark, he's in charge now. But the Markey family, they're well kent in the northeast of Scotland. I think Maitland Markey was he did the Royal Highland Society for a while. But anyway, same relatives, and I was asked to write a tune for that family. So the Markeys are Balchwinachy, so they'd be cousins. Oh, Maitland Markey, I think that's right. Anyway, they're still into farming. So this is a tune called The Markeys of Balchwinachy. It's a linguistics exercise as well as a fiddle tune, this. And I'll play it for you. A wee bit of crossing strings here, so we'll take it fairly steady. So I took it fairly steady, but I think we'll play it slower for playing through. I quite like it. I mean, it sounds big-headed, it's my own tune, but I have to say I didn't like all my tunes by quite a bit. I mean, there's some tunes I think, actually I quite like that, and this is one of them. Well, I recorded it on a CD, so I must have liked it. Not too bad, but I think it's quite a decent tune. So let's take it again, but steady it up. And what I find with reels, sometimes slurs help to give the tune a little bit of flow. Got sort of dotted crotchet here, and things like that. Also, you get a chance to draw out your bow. So rather than using that bow gives you much more tone, bit more power, quite a bit more power actually, because that's for it's not the fact you're using a lot of bow, it's the fact that the bow is moving quickly. That's where you get a lot of the volume, your volume. Pressing down firmly also gives you a bit extra as well. That's me not pressing down properly. So that's a big difference for going. It's quite a different feel. It takes more work to play like that, it's for sure. But I mean, was I encouraged that you should be able to create the tone yourself through your playing, rather than relying on technology like turn up the volume of the PA system. That'll make you louder, but it's good to have that capacity to do it yourself, and you can vary it around tonally with the dynamics as well, get a different colour, louds and softs, especially if you play as a soloist. That makes quite a big difference to the performance. So anyway, let's see how I go. If you're playing for dancing, I don't suppose it matters quite as much, just keep a good sense of rhythm. Right. last bar. A lot of folk would probably play it with the slur. I prefer it. It's a wee bit punchier. It's a matter of taste, really, but I play it that way just because I like it better that way. Stuff like that, the bow and the fingers need to be absolutely, completely in tandem, or it'll be a total red up. There'll be when I say shambles, because it doesn't need to be as bad as that, but it'll be a bit scrappy. So definitely, if it is untidy, slow it down. If you're playing at home, you're locked down, you've got plenty of time, plenty of hours in a day to fill, so you can stick your time practicing these, getting up to the best possible standard that you can. So I'm going to play this once again, and I think that's probably enough. I'm kind of conscious of the time. Shona has an online meeting for the Food and Music Festival the night at 8 o'clock, so I kind of need to be out of here, well not out of here, but offline by that time to let her get tuned in. So I'll play it again, and then I'll say fare thee well at the end. So I'm going to play this a wee bit quicker. I'm going to pick it up a little bit. When I repeat the tune, it'll be a bit closer to, when I say full speed, but a bit closer to dancing speed. Okay, 2, 3. Right, anybody's watching out there, thanks for looking in. Nice to see you. I'll be back next week with something, I'm sure. A couple of tunes we didn't look at, so we might look at the Braes of Cramar and whatever else it was I was going to do. What was that? It was the Laird of Tillyprony, which is just up the road. That's for Migvie Kirk is in Tillyprony Gron, but except it's not their Gron, it's yours. So aye, we'll come to that next week maybe. We've got our concert on Friday night, live in the lounge, 8 PM UK time, so we'll be here with Shona, and Mere Nonsense fits in the box. Might be fit kind of whiskey, I might be fit kind of beer, is it though? It might be something mess about with the format in a revolutionary way. Get off the whiskey, try a beer. But otherwise, I look forward to see you there. It's usually we have a great night. This is never as busy, but it's good to see a few folk do look in, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this. So if you've enjoyed it, if you want to bung in the tip jar, that is grand. It's www.paypal.me/Paul Anderson Shona Dawn. And we'll maybe see you next week. I'll certainly be here, and I may have totally changed my tunes I'm going to play. Certainly, I'm still trudging through the James Scott Skinner stuff. That's 280 I've done up to now, and it's beginning to feel like trying to get up Mount Everest. I've done a lot, but gosh, there's a lot more to do, because he wrote nearly 700 tunes. So we're a long way to go, and we're going through song melodies, and well, it's not his best work, as I would say about it. There's they're not desperately bad, but the lyrics are not great, and there's a lot of sameness about them, so it's a wee bit dreich, the stuff I'm doing just now, but it is a bit of a break for some of the seriously difficult stuff that I've had to go through. It's been a bit of a chore in some ways. Try to play difficult stuff I can. So anyway, folks, take care, and we'll hopefully see you before too long. Cheerio.